Right, so I want to talk about something today. I think it's important. I think we need to talk about it, and it's a bit of a debate. All right, it's quite an interesting debate. Society versus the individual. Who's responsible? All right, so really I'm talking about when it comes to health, not healthcare necessarily, just in general taking care of health. Now, for a long time, we've always pointed towards the individual. All right, we've always found that a lot of times, particularly big businesses and things like that, have said, well, it's choice, and it's really up to the person who wants to, whether they exercise, whether they eat healthy, and things like that. And I think that's quite an interesting thing there, because when you look at it though from a society point of view, as human beings, we're kind of engineered, I suppose, in a way, to try and move less and get as much energy as possible, because in the past, as we've evolved, if we didn't store fat, get as much energy as we could, and we moved too much, basically our survival wasn't guaranteed. Alright, so our body basically made it so we would store fat, in the times where we could get a lot of food. And the issue is that now we can get a lot of food quite easily, so we get a lot more energy in than we're definitely burning, because we also used to have to look for our food, hunt for our food, kill our food, things like that, and then we've got to think about that. Society's really changed. The way that we live is completely different to the way we used to live, okay? And what you may see, and it might be in your neighbourhood, it might be something you've seen on the media, is that, there are some locations that seem to have a lot of access to the ability to get out and get moving a lot easier. So, around where you live, you might have a lot of pathways and parks and access to facilities, or you might live in an area where you don't have any of that stuff, or it might be too dangerous to go outside, you might be afraid of crime or something like that. And then you've also got to take into account that, how much money do you have? Some places it's cheaper to eat healthier, and other places it's cheaper to eat poorly, and people, it's just about survival. So really we've got to ask ourselves, does society have a role to play in the way we do things? Now, some of you are going to say, no, it's up to the individual, they have to make their choice there. Alright, and I think, okay, I see your point of view as well. I think that maybe what we do as a society, where we begin to do better planning, and we're seeing more of it across the planet, where towns, estates, suburbs, all these kinds of things are being planned to kind of allow people to move more and have access to facilities. We're also seeing community gardens being put in place so people can grow healthier food and they can share it out amongst themselves. Alright, so I think there's definitely some wins there. We're seeing big business now actually start to make their workplaces better to enhance health. So we're going to see people move more, or try and get them to take the stairs, offer them healthier food at lunchtime. Healthcare, they're going to offer them more healthcare as well. So there's a lot of opportunities there that are being given, and I'd like to see more of those, even more permeate through society. And I'm sure over time it's actually going to work out better for us with our healthcare, that if we as a society begin to work more on a preventative view, alright, and that can work forward. So where as a society as a whole, if you've got a society that's healthier, or as a culture where people tend to be more active and eat healthier, we're likely to see individuals following along through that anyway. Now, ultimately, whilst it is a societal thing I think we need to be working on, the individual does need to be making better choices. We need to see individuals, instead of going, well, I'm going to go and spend, a couple bucks down the road and grab something quick that may not be better for me, go, I might want to go and get the apple. And let's face it, getting the apple is boring, is certainly not as good as going to get a really nice burger or something like that, where in our brain we're kind of going, yeah, I want the burger, because that's the way we're wired. We're wired to get those high calorie, flavour filled foods that, are going to help us survive, because we equate those things together. Alright, so it's not an entirely clear-cut debate where you go, no, it's individual, no, it's society. I think it's about both. Alright, I think individuals need to think about their health and what they can be doing and making more effort there. And I also think as a whole, as a society, as a culture, we could also be doing more as well to kind of change our environment to make us move a little bit more, have more access to better food, etc. Now, obviously, we all face different challenges in that. So I think there are problems that, as humans, we're a pretty smart bunch. When we work together and we think about a problem, we can solve it. Alright, I've been Luke from Wellsize. Subscribe to the videos that are coming up. Grab yourself the free ebook. Have a good day.